I have a confession to make. It's a little bit embarrassing for my ego human self, which is that I have not been feeling very motivated over the last week or so, bleeding into almost 2 weeks. And I'm not really sure what happened. I was living my best life, high as a kite, as far as this is where those hermetic principles come in. What goes up must come down, right? And so I think this is why the Buddhists always talk about just staying neutral, because you don't yo-yo when you're super excited on a high and then all of a sudden you know that you're going to come crashing down. And for the longest time, I've been really afraid of letting myself feel super excited about things because I don't want to crash afterwards. So I've been teetering with that. Like my human self has been teetering with that, as far as teetering, different words, right? I've been sitting with that, right? And then I'm like, okay, but allowing myself to be excited, enjoy, looking forward to things is also a really good idea. And having the tools to navigate when I crash and I go down is also really important. So I feel like I'm in a bit of a quote unquote funk. I'm uncertain whether or not I don't have anything to attribute it to, which is the interesting thing as well, because normally you would be able to pinpoint it a little bit more, oh, I don't feel good because I'm scrolling too much on Instagram and comparing myself to others, or got into a fight with blah, 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 or we didn't hit our monthly goals, or having an issue with whatever, right? So, but I don't have that right now. I just have this feeling that I cannot describe, that is not sitting, something has shifted. And as David Guillaume with Kabbalah would say, we would say, oh, what a gift. Oh, what a gift that I get to sit in this discomfort to figure out what's actually going on, and not even having to figure out what's going on and make it a story or attach to that story. The truth is that these are the feelings that I'm feeling right now, and what needs to happen is I need to change my state so that I feel differently, because as Kevin Trudeau would say, feel better. Feel good, feel better. So if this is how I'm feeling, what do I need to do today to make myself feel better? I'm going to go to the gym. I am going to spend a little bit of time editing some things. Today's Thursday. It's not my call day. It's my head of operations day to do discovery calls and things like that. So today could be my content creation day and tying up loose ends as far as content creation goes with Indigo as well. So I think another thing is that I haven't been waking up at 5 a.m., nor have I been feeling motivated to do that. And that's another thing, right? When you are a high-performing athlete, you do not have the luxury of saying, oh, I don't feel like it today, but I'm not right now in this given moment a high-performing athlete. And so my human self is I don't feel like it today. Let's hit snooze. Literally, I sat down today to have a conversation with God, and I laid it out. We laid it out together of what it's actually costing me to not wake up at 5 a.m. I've got a full-on production going on, right? I've got food that's growing that I need to walk into the garden and pick. I have, a farm walk. I've got to sit down, clear my head, have a conversation with God, and then, do my morning rituals and my skincare, and do some house chores, obviously. And like all of you, you have chores that you need to do in the morning. And so we all have the same hours in the day. And it's really, how do we sustain, what do we need to do to sustain long form motivation so that even when you are feeling in a funk, you have the tools to override that funk and still do what you need to do? Because repetition is so key here. My body loves patterns, right? I need patterns to feel like I have a routine going, and then I build momentum, and then things start opening up to me because I'm committed and I'm on the path, and I'm a clear channel to receive divine wisdom, right? That's where I create my content. That's where I am the fullest self-expression of myself, when I am connected to God. And the whole reason why I always go back to detoxification and purification is so that I could be a clear channel of my divinity, and also connecting with God, right? So that I am living a life on purpose, and I'm living a life of alignment, and my soul feels fully expressed in this human body. That is it. And through detoxification, that is how, like, the more I clean within internally, the purer I become, the purer the channel that I hold for God. God doesn't like to live in sick, dirty bodies. Like, it just, you won't hear it. You won't hear the soul, source, divine truth come in. You'll hear fragments of it. You'll hear bits and pieces of it, but you won't get the full sentence. You'll get little bits of a word. You know what I mean? So the more we clean up shop, the more we get out of suffering, the purer we become, the more in alignment we are, the more committed we are to the path, and therefore the more life flows and opens up for us. And I love to feel like I'm in flow, right? And so I'm really sitting with resistance, and I'm really sitting with restraint in this chapter of my life. Like, when I'm feeling resistance and when resistance is coming through for me, I pay attention. And I kid you not, there are some instances where resistance is really coming through for me, because my body knows, my ego, my human ego knows shift is about to happen. And it wants to keep me protected, and it wants to keep me comfortable. And I'm also working on my relationship with my ego, because there's this beautiful quote that my business coach told me this week or last week. No, not my business coach. And I had a reading with her, and I ended up listening to it again. She's the one who told me this really beautiful quote, and it was, the ego is a gift from the soul for the human. I'm gonna have to insert. It is one of the most beautiful quotes I have heard, and the point of the quote is basically that you befriend your ego. You don't need your ego. There's no such thing, in my personal experience, or my belief system. This is just what I believe. You take it on and you do as you wish, right? I think it contradicts all the Buddhist teachings or whatnot, and I haven't really fully studied them in order for me to really know. But you cannot have your soul in your human body. You cannot be a human without an ego, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And therefore, the ego is very important. So dissolving the ego is, I feel, denying your true wholeness, your true holiness, right? To be whole and to be holy does not mean to deny your shadows. You do not deny your shadows, therefore you're not whole. You're not wholesome, because we need our shadows to have the full picture, right? Otherwise you're pretending to be something that you're not, and the shadow brews and it gets bigger and louder, and then you act out and you become Jekyll and Hyde or bipolar or something crazy, right? Because you're not managing your darkness that exists within each and every one of us, right? So I think there's so much more to that picture, and I think that's why it's also really important not to judge, because you can perceive somebody as being super evil, but we also don't know where they're going in their soul evolution and how holy they're going to become because of these learnings. Everything is consciousness expressing itself, and therefore how do we judge consciousness expressing itself? Which is why in the Bible it says, thou shalt not judge, because you've never walked a mile in anyone else's shoes, and you don't know anybody else's life path. So, to make a long story short, how do we keep momentum going when we feel icky? And that is the Jedi mastery that I feel so fortunate right now to experience, because this is what I've been learning in Your Wish is Your Command and studying with Kevin Trudeau, is that And even with Michael Burnoff, changing your state and NLP, like honestly, it all comes back to the basic teachings of how to change your state, even when you feel otherwise, and how your feelings are a predictor of what's going on internally, and therefore that's what you're also manifesting externally. So the biggest thing that you can do for yourself, back to that teaching every single day, is to feel better. To feel better. So the question is always, how do I feel? What do I need to do today to feel better? What do I need to do today to feel better? And take it step by step until you continue to feel better. God bless, you know? So yeah, and then sitting with resistance, building momentum, changing your state, feeling better as a key, and being really conscious of what you're putting out as far as like the energetic field that you're putting out, because what you want, what you desire, requires you to hold a certain level of frequency, and that frequency is your currency of getting that. And so the better that we can maintain feeling good or feeling better, the closer we get to fulfilling our dreams in reality. And I am seriously obsessed with fulfilling my dreams and turning my dreams into reality. It is the reason I'm alive, is to dream and to turn dreams into reality. It is the fuel that keeps me going. It is the fire that burns within me to keep bettering myself and to learning all of these things. And I genuinely believe it's a mathematical equation away, and it all starts here, and it all starts with the thoughts that we think and the words that we speak, and mastering our emotions and our feelings and our state. I think it's the most important thing. This is what makes us Jedi Masters. This is what makes us alive and turns us on. And the way that we do that is through purifying the channel so that the channel is clear and the next steps are revealed. And you just keep trusting blindly one step in front of the other, because it's always just one step revealed in front of the other, right? And so that's what it means to walk ourselves home. That's what the journey home within is. There's no external thing that is ever going to fulfill the internal void that we feel other than that pure connection to God. It is literally the most important thing. And I'll preach that till I'm blue in the face. Change my state, move my body, hopefully sweat, do the thing, and keep feeling better. I love you.